Spring football at Nebraska is in the books. So now what? Recruiting, of course. Recruiting never stops. 8 offers went out on Tuesday, and we will run those down as well as everything you bring to the table there in the live chat. Bring your comments and questions to talk Nebraska football with us. Greg Peterson on the line for a 65th time. Check out his work on Husker Online. Greg, the last time we talked, it was 90 degrees out there. How about now?
Oh, yeah. 55 was the high today.
Yeah.
It was 90. It was 90 last Tuesday, and it was 40 on Wednesday. You had 50-degree temperature difference. So, yeah, it's
that's tough to take.
Welcome to Nebraska, right? But anyway, hey, Huskers Live 65. How about that?
Sounds good. Sounds good to me. Everybody, we hope you appreciate it. So the Super Chat's available. Also hit the like button and share these videos out on social media. Let people know that we're here talking up the Huskers every Tuesday. And again, we'll get to your comments and questions. All right, Greg. Well, we've got 8 offers that went out this week. And we'll take it from the top with the wide receiver, Ben Nagoy, 2023 class, right there in Lincoln.
Yeah, Benny Nagoy, he's a good-looking player. I really like him, and we've got if you go to our YouTube channel, Husker Online Video, you can search his name in there and listen to some of his interviews we've had with him and some of the footage we have. Really talented kid, and it's about time he got an offer. Quite frankly, he kind of burst onto the scene a little bit last summer during the Husker, Friday Night Lights camps when him and Malachi Coleman were the 2 kids that everybody was like, "Whoa, wow, who's that?" And actually 2 kids from Lincoln, Lincoln High and Lincoln East, and Malachi Coleman's been vaulted himself to the number 1 prospect in the state. But Benny's right behind him, and Benny's got a lot of interest, and he can play either way too. He plays corner and he plays wide receiver, and you know what? He's pretty good at both. He's got a little bit of work to do to refine some of his skills, but very athletic kid, and he's lightning fast. He's a track guy, and he's smart too. So grades are not an issue with him at all. And I'm super happy to see that Benny finally got an offer from Nebraska because he's been waiting for that for almost 2 years now, and we'll see what he does here in the senior year here at Lincoln High. Haven't had a chance to look at their schedule and see what they're in store for, but he has a chance to have a pretty good senior season, and he's going to be playing somewhere at a D1 school, that's for sure, at a Power 5 school. So, great job offering Benny, and I'm very happy with him.
Good to see you, Husker D. Good to see you, Moonbot, Franks Bolich, Go Big Red, Mike, and everybody else here in the chat. Appreciate you being here. Ask those questions. Keep the show going. Let us know what's on your mind. All right. That leaves 7 other offers that went out. So I'm just going to run down the list, Greg. You cut me off. You jump in. If there's anybody that grabs your attention, knowing that you typically scout in Nebraska, then you take those trips. You take one, to Nevada last year? You took one to Texas last year. So you do take those out-of-state trips. But
COVID kind of, hurt that a little bit. But usually we'll be out covering guys, full force this coming season for sure.
So Nebraska also offered Hayden Moore.
Yeah.
He's an outside linebacker, 2023 out of Aurora, Colorado. You've got the 16th rated safety in the country, Kinsley Faustin, but he's for 2024 out of Naples. You've got a weak side defensive end, the 9th-rated player in his class of 24, Brandon Davis Swain out of West Bloomfield, Michigan. And you got his teammate, cornerback Jameer Benjamin, the 8th-rated player in the state of Michigan. And then also in 2023, we got the 13th-rated safety in the country, Jalen Hayward, Rockledge, Florida. 19th-rated strong side defensive end, Jalen Thompson out of Cass Tech in Michigan. They're in Detroit. 3rd-rated player in the state of Michigan. And then finally, we got a top 10 defensive tackle in Amari Washington out of Chandler, Arizona. I see a lot of players coming out of Chandler, Arizona.
Yeah, well, Chandler's always, that area right down there in the Phoenix area is, produces a lot of talent year in and year out. And you got some connections down there. And, Ty Robinson's a guy that comes out of there. So, he still obviously has some pull in there when they're talking to recruits and stuff down there. So, but yeah, you got, a lot of offers going out, a lot of defensive backs, a lot of safeties, and obviously a couple of, big time positions in need there on the defensive line. So, these are all highly ranked prospects. They're all, they're highly coveted by almost everybody. And, you don't want to be that school out there that doesn't throw an offer out there. But so obviously there's some connections down there. Nebraska's had some kids come out of Cass Tech down there in Detroit in the past. And you see Travis Fisher obviously being out there in the forefront recruiting these defensive backs. And he identifies kids real early and knows what kind of kids are going to fit into what he's trying to do. So that's no surprise at all. Then you got a kid out of Colorado, out of Aurora there, who actually I went and played when I was in midget football. Our team, Security Mutual from here in Lincoln, we won and had to go play them. Had to travel up to Denver when I was a little kid, so that was kind of cool. But obviously, that's a kid that fits in to that 500-mile range. I didn't try to get off track there. Sorry, didn't start to confuse.
Take us down memory lane.
Yeah. But no,
okay.
Every time the Aurora Red Devils, I will never forget them. They were huge and they crushed us. So yeah, that will never leave my memory. But they're going to get guys. They're going to offer anybody that they think that has a fit here in their scheme. And this is the time to do it. And you're coming off of a weekend, a spring game weekend where you had over 100 kids visiting here and watching the spring game in person. So recruiting is going really well right now for a team that is coming off of a 4-win season.
Samuel sends up a comment here concerning NIL deals, and this is information we will never get because it's private information. But with recruiting being what it is, and we see the recruiting rankings, it would be interesting now with NIL being what it is, if there was some kind of tote board that somebody would comprise. And again, the financial conditions are generally private, unless they are released by somebody that would show us, okay, Nebraska has this many players with NIL deals and they total this much money for this amount of time, and we can start making comparisons between all the schools and then try to make correlations as to how well they're recruiting versus the NIL deals to see if there's a connection, which of course there is. But we'll never have those figures.
Well, this is the troubling thing about NIL right now, with basically no rules, no stipulations. At this moment right now, it can be a pay for player type deal right now, just like Sam's saying. You can offer who's to say, all kinds of big time boosters, multimillionaires come together and say, hey, we want this guy. We're going to offer him this deal to come here. You can dominate the market doing that right now. So it's going to be weird to see how this pans out right now because it's still in its infancy. And I mean, Nick Saban's pretty much, I think, out on the forefront about talking about this, that it's going to ruin college football. And you're talking about the guy that wins national titles almost every year and doesn't need to NIL to pay guys to come and play for him. So it's such a sketchy situation that we're in right now. And I mean, I think enjoy college football this season because it might be a whole lot different looking coming up after this season.
It's a great point. Yeah, Nick Saban, you got to think this guy is least affected by it, but he loves the sport and wants to see it survive and succeed, and he sees what's coming down the pike. You know, with all these other proposals that are made by different committees, whether that's NCAA driven or whether it's college football playoff committee driven with like the playoff, and it seems like it always takes everything else 3 and 4 and 5 years to decide and figure out and implement. With NIL, would it have been the worst thing in the world if this all cut loose last July of 2021, that it would have been announced at that point, NIL will be legal and will be above board starting in July of 2022? I would give everybody a year, let's say all the conference commissioners or somebody to try to, because I'm all for the free market system. But there's regulations within the free market system to protect the individuals, to vet through the legalities and the IRS and everything else that gets involved in all this, that they would have given themselves like a year buffer to talk it over, think it through, and try to put some kind of structure to it.
Well, I think if I'm correct, I think the state of California is the one who kind of pushed the whole thing forward by making it legal out there, and then other states that that their state legislators were allowing that also had an advantage. Like Nebraska was one of those that kind of did give Nebraska a little bit of a leg up on it because they planned for it and had gotten ready for it in that short amount of time that it was announced that it was going to go legal. So, that's a huge factor in it. And it's not an even playing field right now. And that's what we're kind of talking about, destroying college football because, that's the greatest thing about this game is that everybody's on a level playing field, start day one of fall camp. And it's, whoever you got on your team, that's what you go with. And right now other programs have advantages, especially programs that have a large booster population and a lot of money backing them. And it's just not fair to smaller schools like that just can't compete. So it's like you said, we'll see how it pans out. I mean, the NCAA has definitely got to figure out something about how to regulate things.
Moonbot is here, as always. He's asking about the former player meeting that was supposed to go down. Do you know anything about that?
No, really haven't heard anything.
Okay. All right.
I mean, there was a lot of former players that were there on campus at the game and stuff, and all a lot of hugging and handshaking going on. And I think we mentioned last week Trev Alberts, a lot of his former teammates were there, and it was pretty cool to see actually, just roaming up and down the sidelines. And I'd have to stop and look and try to say, "Oh, wow, who's that guy?" And some of them had to look at their credential with my camera, zoom in with my camera just so I could figure out who that guy was. And okay. And but I don't know. There might have been some stuff out there I really haven't hadn't paid much attention to it, since the spring game. So my apologies if I'm dropping the ball on that one, Moonbot.
All right, Moonbot. Everybody else, let's not expect Greg to know everything. He almost does. All right, Adam. Few people mentioned this. I don't know if this is wishful thinking or there's some kind of talk out there about Xavier Betts coming back.
The door's open. We've hit on Xavier Betts a couple of times since his departure, and talking with coaches, obviously they would welcome him back. I think at this point it's up to his teammates and up to Xavier. That's the bottom line, because he's the one who he quit. He walked away, and he pissed off his teammates. He let his teammates down, and those are the guys that he has to convince that he deserves a second chance. Obviously, when you're talking to Mickey Joseph, he definitely is all for the kid and would love to give him another chance. And I think, knowing Xavier the way I do, is I think he was a little bit overwhelmed with kind of the demands that Mickey Joseph brings to his room, and maybe just wasn't ready to put that kind of work in. But like I said, I've known him for a long time, and his high school head coach, Mike Huffman, is a great coach, and is the reason that Xavier was eligible to go to Nebraska. And I know for a fact that that Coach Huffman's been in his ear since this all happened. And that's the nice thing about it, is that that door is open. So, like I said, the ball is in Xavier's court and it's in his teammates' court to work it all out.
Well, now that spring camp is all wrapped up, and August will be the next time we'll see the players on the field officially together. Mr. Cow wants to know, what is the biggest thing you think Nebraska needs to do this summer?
Land that coveted defensive tackle and add to that defensive line in the transfer portal. And that's not even getting to this summer. So, just get to it during strength and conditioning, like they will. That's a given around here. Guys are going to work on getting bigger, stronger, faster, obviously, and they're going to take all the time that they have possible to work with each other. Quarterbacks and receivers and running backs, and it's a time where a lot of people might think that players go home and have the summer off, and that doesn't happen here. 95% of the team stays here on campus, and they're always working on honing their skills and doing everything possible to win football games here in Lincoln.
Greg Peterson's here, folks. 65 consecutive times we've gotten together to talk Nebraska football. We're here every Tuesday, 6 Central, with all of you. Bring your comments and questions. Hit the like button. Get that done. And take this video link and take it out there on social media and post it to let people know that we are here every week. People that don't know that we're here, your social media acquaintances out there. David Kelly. Good to see you, David. On a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you about our offensive line? Thanks for everything.
Honestly, like about a 4. I'm not that concerned about the offensive line. Like we've had on that a couple of times in the last few weeks. But the defensive line is where my concerns lie. But on the offensive line, if they come into the season healthy, and you're really hoping to get Teddy Prohaska back, and to me, seeing him on the sidelines and stuff at the spring game is that he looks like he's close. I think he'll be ready to start fall camp. And Turner Corcoran is another guy who missed all the spring as well, and he's kind of he's going to be that guy who's switched from tackle and end up playing on the inside at guard, and he's a heck of a football player too, and Bryce Benhart I think has taken a step up here, and not Ethan Piper, but who am I missing? At center, Trent Hickson has emerged as the number one center here in spring, and he's a guy that stayed around for an extra COVID year, a local kid, an Omaha kid that has been here for a long time and learned under Cam Jurgens, and he's ready to take a step up as one of the big leaders there on that offensive line. So I like what they have going, and Coach Raiola has really lit a fire under these guys, and there's a whole different attitude that I see coming out of that offensive line room. And I didn't even mention Nuri Newellen, who's a guy that came in and played a lot of football here last year at a high level. That the Colorado State transfer that came in last year, who actually played here at Norris High School here, 15 minutes outside of Lincoln. But he's really come along too. So I think this offensive line has a real good chance to be a really good group, and especially with the changes in the offense under Mark Whipple, where it's going to be, I think, a more run-heavy offense than you've ever seen here under Coach Frost. So now the mentality here with the offensive line is to downhill block and beat your guy down, and that's what you want. That's what these guys have been taught since day one. If you're one of those big uglies down there in the trenches. So no, I think this is going to be the most improved group on the team, but we'll see. Maybe I'm completely wrong on it, but we'll see.
So Mike, who's asking about O'Shawn Mathis, the defensive end out of TCU. O'Shawn Mathis announced a few days ago that he is going to make his decision by the end of the month.
Yep.
So he's going to announce it by the end of the month.
Yep.
And he's down to Texas,
yep,
Ole Miss, Penn State, USC, Nebraska.
Yeah, and my read on it is that list is only two. That's Nebraska and Texas. But we'll see. I mean, that's the beauty of the position that O'Shawn is in, being one of these highly coveted transfer portal guys, is that they don't talk very much. We're lucky that he actually told us that he was going to make his decision here within the end of the month. I mean, just compared to a guy like Casey Thompson, when he went into the draft portal, or I mean, the draft portal to the portal, that you couldn't get a hold of him and stuff. He kept it close to the vest, and then when it was time, he announced. So I like a lot where Nebraska sits with O'Shawn Mathis, especially with his official visit to Nebraska's spring game. He gave that an A+, and like I said last week, they rolled out the red carpet for him. He really did have the visit of a lifetime, really. So it's like I said, it comes down to Nebraska and Texas in my mind, but it's hard it's always hard to Nebraska to beat out Texas, for an in-state guy like that. So it'll be interesting to see it come down, for his final decision here, and I'm sure that's probably the biggest news here that we can expect coming here in the rest of April, unless I don't know, Dylan Raiola decided to commit. next week or something. But I don't. That's not going to happen. So there you go. But yeah, but bottom line, I like Nebraska's chances a lot with him, and the fact that he can come in right away and make a difference and really be that guy that could come over and take over that offense or that defensive line. So we'll see.
Max, we appreciate you being here. And based on his comment, it sounds like he's a Nebraska fan, but he's saying, are you looking forward to? So sometimes when people throw out these kind of comments, they're fans representing other teams and they're just trying to stir things up. But looks like Max is a Nebraska fan, and he says, are you looking forward to another 4-8 season? Well, it was 3-9. Anyway, pretty hard to be optimistic after the last 4 years.
Yeah, but you know what? Nebraska fans are always optimistic at this time of year. So what else do they have? But obviously, no, I'm not looking forward to that. And I don't think there will be another 4-win season. It's been long enough. It's been going on. It's ridiculous, to have this long of a drought to even go to a bowl game. And, and that was under Mike Riley, who it was kind of fun to watch his New Jersey Generals play in the USFL Saturday night as well. So yeah, no, I'm not at all looking forward to a 4-8 season because those suck. It's not fun to cover. I know fans hate them, but it might be even worse for us in the media. So yeah, I don't expect to see that this year.
Daniel says 10-2 this year. Go Big Red. And Moonbot says 9-3, and he's got the losses pegged against Oklahoma, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Well, those are pretty lofty records.
Well,
what do you think the average fan? What do you think the average fan who's reasonable, and what do you think you? And I'll ask it this way as well, because to me, not every record is created equal, meaning I could give you a 7-5 season where Nebraska looks really good and they're competing against the really tough teams, but they dropped really close games there, but they won more obviously than last year, 7-5. Or you can see some 7-5 teams that are still a long ways away. They beat everybody they're supposed to beat, and they got hammered by anybody that's any good. So let's say it's pretty reasonable, pretty competitive team, just like what we saw last year against the good teams on the schedule. What would you think is a big step in the right direction, but reasonable?
Well, I think you hit it on the head there. 7-5 is what I look at as that mark. And the thing on top of that, I think you're showing more progress than expected, if that makes sense. I know Moonbot kind of pegged some of those losses there, but I look at that Oklahoma game as something that Nebraska has a huge opportunity there. You're talking about a team that lost a bunch of guys that transferred out when they changed head coaches. And so if there's a time to get Oklahoma, and it's here in Lincoln, this is the year. And if Nebraska can start out 4-0, if they can go to Ireland and get a win against Northwestern to start the season,
they have to get that one.
They have to get that win, and then you get the 2 other home games after that. You expect Nebraska to win those 2 games, and then you get Oklahoma in here at just the perfect time. So if Nebraska can start 4-0, I think they have a great shot that right there to win 8 games if they start off 4-0. So that's my mark right there. I want to see what this team does in the first 4 games of the season, and then maybe I'll change my goals for what this team can do at that point.
It's a different year, different team, different opponent, and all that. But if they lose to Northwestern, it'll just have, because of the date, because it's a week 0, and because it's a team that's one of the bottom 3 or 4 in the Big Ten, should be. We'll see what happens, but Northwestern's probably going to be there like Illinois was last year. It's just going to have look of
Yeah.
this is the same thing.
Maybe the better question is, do I look forward to getting on a plane and flying home from Dublin to Lincoln if they lose that game? No, I do
Yeah.
not.
If they drop that game, you better have had a good time with everything else you do out there.
Yeah. So that's the key. It really is the key.
So I'm hoping for a good trip plus a win, and you come back with a lot of stories.
I hope so.
Daniel, we appreciate you encouraging everybody to hit the like button. Only takes a click, only takes a second. Please hit the like button. YouTube likes that. Doesn't really massage my ego or Greg's. It's more about the YouTube deal that they like to see the videos come in with likes.
I do want to throw out there, if anybody has been to Ireland, give me some suggestions on what kind of food I should be digging into first and everything.
Yeah, I can't really think of any Irish food that is necessarily.
Besides corned beef and cabbage.
Yeah, corned beef and cabbage, Irish stew. Not anything in particular that I'm that big a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure they've got their.
I hear it's really rich,
Mm,
which I don't think I've ever had a problem with. So
yeah. No,
look at my physique, and
you'll find some good spots out
rich
there.
food doesn't bother me.
You're solid, Greg. Hey, Tim. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for that.
Timmy Trojan.
Tim's a USC fan, and he's beat everyone to the punch here in the super chat. Thank you so much for that. My share of the phone bill from last night. Yes, we run these call-in shows, and it does. I'm glad that Tim recognizes it does cost a little bit of money to run those call-in shows.
I'm gonna have to look up what a pasty is.
Yes, pasties in Ireland. Pasties.
Sounds good. Raising Cane's.
Irish martini, vodka with a potato in it.
I don't think they have a Raising Cane's in Ireland. I could be wrong, but yeah. Smoked salmon. Yeah, that helps out a lot, Moonbot. Thanks.
Tim's telling us
I won't even eat that here. I'm not a salmon guy.
That's all right. Tim is telling us it's a pastry filled with meat, a pasty.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah. That sounds good to me. Sounds like a runza is what you're saying.
Okay. Yeah, none of those food items are that encouraging to me.
There's a real football question, right?
There is a football question coming in from David. He wants to know how much weight Yant has taken off.
Yeah, he looks amazing. I want to say, what did he say? Close to 20 pounds that he dropped. And why? Because he cut out Raising Cane's. That's the number one reason. Yeah, he finally learned how to eat, and my goodness, his speed. He looks, it's crazy. It really surprised me to see him going full bore, and he lost that 20 pounds and added, brought down his body fat count. Where you looked at him in the past, you didn't think he needed to, but he did, and yeah, his stamina now is much better too. He's not going to be a guy that can go out and just carry the ball a couple times and need to come out and get a blow anymore. So I think he's, in my eyes, he's the returning running back that's made the biggest step in the off season. with what he's done with his body and with his his agility. So if he can put it all together with the playbook and with his blocking and everything, he could be in for a pretty special year, in my opinion. I'm sure Moonbot would like to hear or likes hearing that too. So
I had to go to Google because I thought I knew what Raising Cane's was.
chicken,
I was about 98% sure, so I put it in there. I looked up the logo. Yeah, sure enough, I didn't know what Raising Cane's was until a couple trips to Texas. That was the first time I ever had, chicken from Raising Cane's. Been there
yeah,
maybe 5 times.
the college kids love it. I mean, I don't care where you're from. For out of state recruits that come in here on visits and stuff, if they don't have a Raising Cane's,
Yeah, it's good. I
they
like
go
it.
crazy. It's to me, it's average.
Well, yeah, it's
not
not a
chicken.
delicacy.
I'm not a chicken tender guy. I mean, I like them, right? But I'm
Yeah,
not.
okay.
Their breading gets a little soggy for me if you don't eat them fast enough. So that's what I don't like about them. But yeah, I mean, my goodness, any of these football players and stuff would be love to step in there for NIL money coming from Raising Cane's. We'll put it that way. So and and Jaquez is a kid that came from Florida, and they didn't have Raising Cane's there. So obviously he fell in love with that too. But now he eats a little bit healthier, so that's been the key. They've kind of encouraged him to add a little bit more vegetables into his diet, and it's done wonders. So there you go.
Well, after I confirmed what Raising Cane's was, that's what I thought it was.
I like Zaxby's better.
Zaxby's,
personally,
okay.
yeah.
I the only thing that's been on my mind the entire time since then is that if Raising Cane's is big in Nebraska, then I need to get on the horn with them and get a sponsorship.
Oh yeah, there you go. Good idea. Yeah.
Colin has he's figured out the entire season. He's got it all worked out. Nebraska beats Alabama in the national championship game. After the game, the coaches meet at midfield. Scott Frost grabs Nick Saban by the neck and lifts him up like a trophy.
I'll choose not to answer that question. I plead the fifth.
David's looking for defensive tackles in the portal. David, I will scan my information here. I'll get you a list here at some point.
Take all we can get. We'll just put it that way. Anybody that's got an offer has a welcome open-ended visit offer as well to come check it out. Multiple times a week. And you know what's funny about Raising Cane's too? There's one not even 5 minutes from my house, and my wife's medical office, her practice is right across the Trade Center street from where Raising Cane's is. And the place is packed. It looks like a In-N-Out burger all day long with the amount of cars in the drive-through, and you always have that smell coming out. Anytime you go to my wife's office to check it out, it's the smell does get to you. So I will give him that.
All right, David, defensive linemen or defensive tackles to be specific in the portal. Marquise Robinson from Auburn, still looking for a team. Most of these guys have been snatched up.
Yeah, you wonder why.
Nayo Tufono out of USC, he's still looking for a team. Devin Drew out of Texas Tech, still looking for a team. Ryan Faxton, South Florida. Keaton Fox, defensive lineman from Alabama. He's in the portal. Jeff Marks from Purdue. He's in the portal. Jamry Croma from Rutgers. So these are just a bunch of names to me and probably everybody else at this point. I think we're looking at a lot of players that didn't play a whole lot where they were.
Right.
We're in the portal, but most of them have been snatched up.
Yep. I'd have to look at their offer list and see which one of those guys they've offered, which I haven't done. Sorry, I was unprepared coming in.
Where is the offer list? Where can you find the offer list?
You can find it on HuskerOnline.com. Just go under recruiting and the recruiting tab, and it'll say offer list, and it'll give you a list of confirmed offers for each year. So pretty easy to find.
And those are for the portal too?
It would be every offer that's sent out. I don't think it's actually broken down by portal or JUCO or what have you. It's just a list of names for whatever class the kid is ranked in. You got to do a little bit of legwork on your own.
Yeah, I see football, the list for 2023.
Yep, football offer list.
Yeah, it's a long one.
Yeah. It hurts my eyes to look through that, so that's why I don't look at it that often. Other people get paid to do that. I don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I worry more about the guys that are coming here on visits and that Nebraska has a shot to get than just looking at that whole list of guys that are available.
Does it seem like what Beansy Music is saying about people being upset after the spring game? Is that what you've found?
I think the general public was probably a little bit thinking like that, just because of what they saw on the field, just as a product, with not being able to see the frontline players pretty much going at it. I think the experience overall was great. It was fantastic. But, I think fans walked away from the game with more questions than they had answers, obviously. So if being upset means that, then I agree 100%. But I think that was by design as well, because of the several factors that, obviously with the injury situation at a lot of key positions that you didn't have guys out there. So it made it hard to go good on good. So, and Coach Frost was the first one that doesn't like the format that it had to end up being because he wanted a real game like situation and to see guys be able to tackle to the ground. But, you got a first half that was completely watered down and you saw absolutely nothing of a new offense or anything. And that's by design. Casey Thompson was in there for 2 series and that was it. And it was touch football. So you can't really tell a whole lot from that. And especially like the guy that we've been talking about with Jaquez Yant, that, this guy's a hammer and has worked on his craft. And you want to see him, be able to break through all those tackles and take it to the house. But, when all you got to do is put 2 hands on his hips, and it's kind of hard to see what's going on there. I think that's what the general public was a little bit worried about, that it didn't look like much. And obviously, like Coach Frost had said, even going into the game, that you really weren't going to see anything new because, everything that they've done in the past is on film. Nothing that they're going to do right now is on film for anybody to see. And that's the way it's going to stay until they play in Dublin against Northwestern. So I think that's kind of is on their side as well, is that, what do people expect out of Nebraska coming out when the regular season starts? Nobody knows. So, but fans are fans. They want to see, a bunch of touchdowns and see the flashy players, the flashy new toys that they added. But you just didn't get much of a chance to see that. So, I think that's the general thoughts on the game with the public.
D-Rock Irish has a recruiting update for us. 2023 4-star wide receiver Braylon James out of Texas has committed to Notre Dame.
Nice. Good get. Very good get for the Irish and their new head coach. Kind of weird saying that.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Been a while, Brian Kelly there.
Yeah.
11 or 12 years.
Left his mark there for sure.
Yep. He's definitely got his critics, but he made that program better than it's been since Lou Holtz.
Yep.
By far. All right, everyone. I guess that wraps it up for another Tuesday night, folks. Get on back here next Tuesday. Bring some folks with you. We would love to push the crowd to 150 or 200. Let's get to that mark, and then we'll keep going from there. So, again, bring your friends with you, family, Nebraska fans, college football fans with you every Tuesday at 6 Central. Right, Greg? You have a big week planned?
No, not really. I mean, just kind of getting things ready, I guess, for the NFL draft and doing a few position recap stuff. Kind of about the only newsworthy stuff going on until, you get one of these recruits to make a decision. So, yeah, kind of quiet around here right now, obviously.
Beansy Music, appreciate that. Thanks for being here. Bring some folks with you next week. All right. Nebraska Live in the books, number 65. Appreciate everybody being here. Greg, you make it happen. So thank you for that.
No problem. Love it.